Hi there, and welcome to the October edition of The Place to Be Oshkosh. I'm your host, John Neiman, with COTS in Oshkosh. And I'm so glad that you could join us. My guest and I were just talking about where did the summer go, that we're already into October with this wonderful Halloween edition of The Place to Be Oshkosh. As always, I really want to begin by thanking the sponsors who make this show possible. And of course, a financial sponsor of this show is COTS, my employer, a great program that is now in Oshkosh. We're in our year and a half being in Oshkosh. And also then our community newspaper, the Oshkosh Herald, with Karen. If you want to know what's going on, go to the Oshkosh Herald. Wonderful pictures, great stories, great articles. And then our set design is by Brian at U Bloom. Make sure you stop out by Brian. He's into full fall right now on Halloween. And also, ladies, make note on October 5th, Brian is having a ladies' night. So check out his Facebook page for more information. He said there'll be lots of promotions and lots of deals, and that is October 5th. Where can you watch us? Wonderful crew. They're great with the graphics. You can see us on Oshkosh Media Life TV, which is Spectrum Channel 2. You also can just go and search us on YouTube and put in Oshkosh Media, and all of the wonderful programming and shows will show up. But you also can see us on Roku, Amazon Fire, lots of places to see us. Also, if you're looking for the schedule of specific times, just go to Oshkosh Media. They have the schedules of government TV and also Life TV on Channel 2. A couple updates on COTS and our program here in Oshkosh. I talked about we opened in April of 2022, so we've been open a little more than a year. There is our building. We have some special needs that we're hoping people can help with, and one of them is painting. Painting our rooms so we can add more residents to our program. We've already had a couple groups come in who painted some rooms for us on the second floor. So all of our first floor is filled with 10 residents, and now we're up on the second floor. Right now we currently have 5 residents, and we want to add 5 more to our program. So if you're interested in coming for a one-time to help tape off a room or paint a room, my contact information is at the end of the screen. Please contact me for that. Also wanted to talk about a program that we do. It's called Downtown Care Team. Every Monday and Friday morning, weather dependent, we go downtown to clean up the litter. We divided downtown into 4 quadrants, like the Leach and the waterfront, the Sundial, the library, and Main Street. And we partner with the State Street Center and also the Bid District, and we go and pick up litter and cigarette butts from 8 till 9 every Monday and Friday. You're welcome to join us. It's great for your Fitbit, great fellowship, and a lot of fun. And like I said, it's all weather dependent. And then talking about another opportunity, if you'd like to come and volunteer at COTS, I have 3 volunteers right now who come on Tuesdays, and they're Pat, they're Pam, and they're Florence, and they come and do special projects for us. They help clean the rooms and get the rooms ready for new residents. They decorate because, as they always say, this place should look like a home, which it is, and it's a home for our residents in our program. So if you're interested in any of those areas of volunteering, whether it's painting, whether it's being on our downtown care team, or whether it's volunteering actually at COTS, please contact me and let me know. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for our second segment of our October edition of The Place to Be Oshkosh. It's October, and welcome to our show, The Place to Be Oshkosh, with your host, John Neiman. I'd like to introduce our guest. and then he's going to tell us what his title is because he's at two different sites. There's our screen. You can see we are all set for Halloween. I'm very disappointed in our guest too that he did not dress up for the show.
I do what I can.
But this is Chris Adams, and he's been collaborating with us at COTS at our house meeting, so I'm going to let him introduce himself and his title.
All right. Well, I'm Chris Adams. I work for Goodwill Financial and Debt Solutions Services, and I'm a certified financial counselor and certified in student loan counseling as well. So, and what we offer there is financial counseling, budget and debt counseling, financial coaching, housing counseling, debt management plan options, and partnerships, community partnerships. Like, as John said, I go to COTS there every other Monday to help out with, whatever goals that his residents might have, such as rent preparation, savings, the importance of savings, importance of, setting up, a spending plan. And, a lot of the residents are looking to improve their credit ratings and stuff like that. So working with them that's what they're looking for. And then there's other community partnerships I have throughout the city of Oshkosh as well, looking at, going to Forward Services, going to City of Oshkosh Housing Authority, AdvoCap, Solutions Recovery. There's many other partnerships we have throughout the city of Oshkosh.
And the reason that you're on the show is because of the collaboration, because you're doing something important. Because as a parent knows too, you can give a message to your child and give it over and over and over again, but someone like a favorite uncle can come in and give the same message and the children will listen to it. So I feel the same way sometimes, like I'm giving a message, but when you're explaining it or expressing it, they're understanding it better and they're listening to you. And like I was telling you before at the house meeting that I ran the other night, they were all asking where you were, which made me feel very high.
Well, and that's where a lot of times it's just, you can at least, they see the fact that it's an area of expertise for me. They can, and being there every other Monday, and you had said, repetitions. You keep going over it, and they may not look as excited about it, but they do come to an understanding eventually that it is important. And they do have that goal of, you can stay at COTS for so long, but there is an end game in it.
Right.
That they do have to find, a place to live in the end,
Right.
And there has to be some sort of sustainable plan, of either, having, a spending plan, having savings, having, a financial institution as well. So, there's all these different variables in play that they need to have. And initially, when I was first there, they were not, grabbing onto that. But, as time's gone on, the last couple of months that I've been there, they've been, latching onto that, and there isn't more of an understanding now.
And I think now they're taking it. It's hard because some people they're there for different reasons. Some people may be recovering alcoholics or drug addicts. Some people mental health. Some people kicked out of their house by their parents. So and they're all there. Then they have to be part of this group, and maybe they're not 100% vested that they need to be there yet because they're still going on with stuff in their lives. So I think once they see the consistency of a person coming and the genuineness of that we really care, it catches on. And also the longer they're there, like you said, they can stay at COTS up to 2 years. But eventually they have to find a place, hopefully, to go to. And now all the questions come up. And I know you talk about, because I keep saying repetitious, but it's like there's certain things you have to have in order to get out, to get on and move on. Let's start with the first one, a physical bank. A physical bank. A lot of people don't have those.
And that's one thing that a lot of your residents did not have, and that's one thing that I have, tried to drill into their brains, and some may not have thought it was a great idea that there was they didn't trust it that as much as putting their money in there, into a bank. But as we've gone along, some of them have been, finally they'll go to at least a credit union because that might be a better idea for them. So yeah, that's been important for them because at least, looking at renting an apartment, they want to look at the idea of, do they have an account where you can either write out a check, have it automatically withdrawn. So
Right.
there is some sort of, responsibility, accountability that they can at least have this account. So.
And a lot of people, they have all these apps, which I can't even name, Venmo, I've just so many apps. But you can't really be accountable with the apps either. Like with a bank, you get your monthly statement.
Yep.
And we've done things like with budgeting where at COTS we offer them shelter, hygiene products, food, everything. They don't really have to buy anything because we want them to save their money. But like I still remember that one guy was always going to Quick Trip to buy, and that's not a plug for Quick Trip, but I don't get anything back. But he was always going to Quick Trip to buy his lunch. And until he looked at that budget sheet and saw, what, $6 to $8 a day for lunch, did it click that there is where the money is going?
And even getting away from COTS, like talking to other individual clients I meet with at Goodwill, talking about, you go through, a monthly spending sheet, and you ask them to track it, meet with them again, and, you talk about Quick Trip or wherever they're going, you go to eat out 5-6 times a week, and you're going to Quick Trip, you get gas, but then you go inside, you buy something.
Yep.
So, and you do the math, you do it over the course of a month, you do it 5-6 times. You lose a lot of money, but going back to COTS, where you have the opportunity to save all this money to move on and, rent a place, you have 2 years. Save as much money as you can for, a security deposit, last month's rent. You want to save, a good amount of money to put down on that apartment. So,
right. And that's what we were saying too. We can help them with landlords because we have program fees. We don't have rent. We have program fees because we case manage our residents and provide them financial assistance, etc. We can write a letter of reference to the potential landlord saying his program fees have always been on time, which also will help. Also taking the Rent Smart class that you're going to be taking or teaching will also help. It's little things like that I think are starting to click with the residents now. Establishing the brick and mortar bank, because we always say too, you want to be known, you want to be part of the community. You can go in there and talk to them about getting a loan or any other needs that you have. So that was a good one, I think, too, just to get started. Let's talk about budgeting. How do you do budgeting with these guys?
Well, with your residents, most of them, you provide your budgeting sheet. I brought in my budgeting sheet as well, expense sheet, spending sheet, however you want to phrase it. And we always just start with, do they have an income? And going online, they have a very good opportunity really to save. I mean, they don't have as many expenses. So looking at whatever else they are spending, and with them, they haven't really sat down with me like one-on-one wise,
right.
But a few of them have. And so really just going through and just,
the stuff like alimony.
Yeah.
That's something that I know hits a lot of our guys. It comes right out of their check, so it's gone. They don't see it, but they know that it's gone. Or from debt collectors, or paying off loans.
And
that's one thing they need to do to get their credit.
And that's where the couple that I've sat with, that's where their major expenses come from. It's mostly usually the debt collectors, and I know a couple of residents have talked about, alimony and child support. So that's where, but looking through the rest of their expense sheet, there isn't really a lot other than when they're going out to eat. So, and that's where a lot of them are showing a lot of savings. So, and just working on them with it that way is really going through the budgeting.
And I think baby steps are good. Sometimes I want things to move quicker, but if they've never done this before, which a lot of the residents say they've never had a checkbook, they've never done this before. So to get them even to sit and listen and understand, and then ask the questions is a big plus. The other thing that you just talked about too is COTS does provide them with everything that they need. So they should be saving, but they have other expenses to take care of. So we brought up once before, they don't understand too that when you get an apartment, there's first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit,
And however, I've also explained to them that there will be other expenses that COTS already provides that they're going to have to account for. However, there are other resources out there that can help them out with cutting down those costs. I mean, they do pay for their own cell phones. They pay for a lot of these things, those things, but they can go cheaper routes on a lot of that stuff.
But you're right, because we provide the Wi-Fi, so they're not paying the Wi-Fi, the electrical, the heating, things like the cable for the TV. So there are a lot of bills that are unexpected to them that they're not doing right now. So I think you're a great resource. My next question is, why is Goodwill doing this? What's the point? What do they just say one day, we want to go out in the community and collaborate, and this Chris is a good guy to do it, or what's the...
Well, frankly, I know Terry's been doing it prior to me doing it.
Yeah.
But it's just something, our mission statement is really elevating people by eliminating barriers to either employment, but just helping people out is really the end game here. So it's a goal. It's just, getting out, developing these community partnerships and helping any individuals that really need it. You get to, the COTS, and I said, you go to Forward Services, you go to AdvoCap, you develop this whole partnership throughout the whole city of Oshkosh. As I said, even with the Housing Authority, I help out with, developing a budget if somebody gets approved for a loan through the city of Oshkosh to improve their house. So there's many different avenues that we just want to, build these relationships, even through the Fox cities as well.
So do you also do this at the actual Goodwill building for clients?
I do in Oshkosh at the Goodwill retail store.
Okay. So if somebody came in to the Oshkosh store and said I needed help, what would the process be? Is there a charge?
There is a $25 charge, one-time fee, covers everything. However, there is, looking at income, poverty level, the fee can be waived as well. So.
And then what would you offer if that person came in and said, I have really bad credit, I don't know how to budget? What would be set up? Would it be individual?
And we can do individual financial counseling. We can see what their goals are. If they said they have bad credit, we can run a credit report, which there is a $25 fee. But however, if I said, they discuss there is,
right,
an income barrier, poverty, we can look into that. But we'd also do, a full new counseling appointment where we would, also look at, income, the whole expense sheet, spending, debts, everything there, see what, the best course, the next course of action is. And if the credit report pulls up, possible, debts that haven't been paid and the possibility of them wanting to get into some sort of debt repayment plan, we can look at also different ways that we can, pay that down as well.
So do you see a typical demographic, like older couples or divorced or younger, or is it just across the board?
It's really across the board.
Okay.
I haven't seen a particular demographic that really outweighs any.
So how much of your time is spent on the road then, by meaning you're going to other places that you mentioned to do this?
Primarily I'm in the city of Oshkosh now, so I go to Menasha once a week. That's the home base, the campus headquarters. But going through the city of Oshkosh, as I said, I've named many of the partnerships that we have, and where I'm doing, presentations, workshops, and also included spending a few days of the week at FVTC, Fox Valley Tech, as I am a financial wellness coach there. So do that a couple of days of the week.
And that's part of Goodwill's program?
Yes, that is part of Goodwill's. That's a collaboration that we built there to help out college students.
And do you get a lot of work there?
I do. Also doing, financial aid appeals there and helping students out with different grants and helping them with a lot of the same programs and services that I do with Goodwill, while also, helping them with different resources that are at Fox Valley Tech and throughout the community as well.
So let's talk a little about some of your success stories. Do you have anything that where you changed somebody's whole life, or they came in really sad and depressed, thinking there was no hope, but you...
The way I see it, when I say success can be defined in a variety of ways. Goodwill offers this grant, this hand up grant, where employees can apply for this grant if there's an emergency that comes up. Say there's a possible eviction coming up, they can apply for this. We go through a new counseling appointment.
Oh, okay.
So they go through a new counseling appointment. We look through their whole expenses, everything, and then it goes to a committee, and they can get approved for that. So I say that could be a success story right there,
Right.
And
how would they have known about that option anyway?
it's been with Goodwill for a while. It's been, rebranded and redone. But yeah,
Okay.
so that right there, you save somebody from being kicked out of their home. I say that's a success story there.
Right, definitely.
And even at Fox Valley Tech, they have emergency grants for students, and I'm the last piece of the puzzle there. So, and a lot of times there's students who, they're getting swallowed up in debt. Some of them are working part-time. So they apply for this Seeds of Hope grant as well. And either they're looking to, not lose their home, maybe transportation comes into play. They can't make their car payments. It's, maybe on the verge of being repossessed, something. So they can apply for that. And in the end, they get to save their vehicle, home, whatever. So always success right there. So they walk away happy. They save their vehicle. Hopefully it's long-term. They usually, normally they follow up with me. And
Oh, that's good.
So,
COTS has a long-standing relationship with Goodwill where some of our residents will go there for job training, and they also get all the other services that Goodwill offers its employees, whether it's counseling, a pretty flexible job schedule so they can go to doctor's appointments or therapy or anything like that. So I've always admired Goodwill for that. But the question, this really tough question you're going to have to think about is, I know, is why Goodwill? Why did you choose Goodwill? Or did Goodwill choose you?
it was, I think it was both. No. So I chose Goodwill. I was always in the helping people business. Prior to Goodwill, I was working in hospitality management. So really I felt, working in management, always either helping people, elevating people that way, to be the best version of themselves. So then I just flipped over, saw Goodwill was hiring for a financial counselor, helping people, in situations, they had barriers. I felt that would be a very good change of pace. So.
And all the agencies that you listed, thank you for the graphic on Goodwill with the hours and donations. And again, but if you're donating to Goodwill, it's going to a good cause because it's going to support the people and also the programs that Chris is taking care of. But I always talk about silos. There are some agencies that are in a silo and they're by themselves and they think they can do it by themselves and they don't need help. But you just listed off 5 or 6 or 7 agencies that you're working with, which for us with the homeless population, we can't do it by ourselves. We can't do everything. So if you can work with Forward or Seek or the Housing Authority, because with the Housing Authority you can see how many apartments are not out there for people. Or Advocap, you can see the programs that they have, the Wheels, the car.
Yep.
What is that one? Wheels to Work?
Wheels to Work.
Wheels to Work programs. So why should I have to study all of this if we can bring an expert in and use them to do it? We all can share, and that's what you seem to be doing. You're a resource. Maybe they don't want to talk about budgeting that night, but they want to talk about their credit report, or how do I get rid of a stain on my credit report, or how do I start getting on the housing list?
That's exactly it. And a lot of times, that's why sometimes I'll make it an open forum, what they want to talk about that night. Maybe they just want to talk about some resources that the city has to offer. Maybe it's Forward Services, which also offers like a job access loan. So, and that can go towards transportation costs as well.
Okay.
So
let's talk about the Housing Authority for a minute. How do you get on the housing list?
Well, there is an application online. So going through that is where I usually direct them. You can go there in person, but it's usually easier to just go through the online website, where I have directed some of your residents and other clients that I have met with through Goodwill.
And there's a waiting list.
There is a waiting list.
There is a waiting list,
Yes.
and it's kind of sad because there just is not a lot of affordable housing for people to rent here. So that's why COTS allows them to stay up to 2 years so they can save the money until something opens up. Advocap too. What resources are at Advocap that maybe people don't know about?
Well, going back to the 2 years, that's why
Okay.
like telling your residents right now to get on the waiting list.
Yes.
And that's why do it now. I mean, you can maybe get approved while you're still at CAS.
Exactly. Because that's what we, at other shelters, they try to do too, because that is your goal, is to get out and have a place
Yeah,
to
and
go.
then you're on the affordable, rental housing list. You're already been approved. So.
And there's just so many things out there in our community, which is really great, but to have one person who kind of can embrace them and know this is where you go for this is where you go for that. Like Winnebago County has a HELP program now, HELP, where they're trying to bring the resources together so when you go down to apply for food share or Badger Care, you don't have to keep going to all these
Yep.
different people. You can do it at one stop. So that's what I think is great about the collaboration part of it. You're bringing an expertise in that maybe some of us don't have, and you can share real life situations with the residents.
Yep.
So anything you want to say?
I don't really have very much. I mean, I do want to say that couldn't do a lot of this, any of this really without United Way. They've always been a great resource throughout all of, Oshkosh, Fox Cities, everything. So United Way has always been a great help. So that's one thing I did want to mention. Other than that,
And that was such a good plug because the campaigns are starting off in the fall for all that. So if people want to choose, and they can go to United Way and choose where they want their donations or that to go to. So that was perfect.
And they're actually a very good ultimate umbrella of resource too. You can always call United Way 211. That's always good as well. So other than that, I don't have, anybody who wants to reach out and make an appointment with Goodwill as well. We can do appointments in person, virtual, one-on-one, over the phone. And yeah, the way to contact us is going to our website is goodwillncw.org. That gets you our phone number, the way to contact us as well.
So could they walk into any Goodwill, like Fond du Lac's Goodwill? Oshkosh has 2 Goodwills.
That's actually 2 different regions. Like the Fond du Lac one
So
is actually a southern region.
Okay.
And then you have going north Oshkosh is a different, our region. So, however, yeah, just going to the website, making an appointment.
That would be better than
Yes. They could walk into the 20th Street. If they even walked into the other Goodwill, they'd probably be able to figure it out.
Okay.
But
Or somebody would be there to help them and say, this is what you need.
Yeah.
What you need to do.
My cards are there, so they'd be able to figure it
Okay.
out.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show because what you're doing to help our residents is of great value to them because they're all starting at different levels.
Yep.
As young as 18 years old, as old as 63. They're there and they all have different talents, different gifts, and different learning levels. And so what you're doing, I think, is great. Our time is winding down. I really do appreciate Goodwill and what they do for us, but also Chris and what he does not only for our residents, but also at Fox Valley Tech with the students because loans and grants and all that's hard. It's hard to go through. So we appreciate it very much. Our time is winding down. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you so very much watching this October edition of The Place to Be Oshkosh. Thank you and have a great Halloween.